Now behind me, I've got something very, very exciting for you guys. It is Cygnet's new Cyclone 100. Now this is a bivvy that has been based around a tried and tested block. Let's jump into the video and see what you think. Okay, so before we start this, I am going to tell you the prices straight away because this is very, very good value for money. Now, there's a couple of different sizes. Today, I've got the 100 with me, but there's also a 150, which is obviously slightly bigger, slightly taller. But the one we're focusing on, like I say, is the 100, and these come in at just under 300 quid. So they're 299.99. If you want the slightly bigger version, then you can get these for 349.99. So prices out there from the start because these really are exceptional value for money. So what do you get for your 300 quid or just under? Let's have a little look what's in the bag. Now you get a couple of metal poles. Now this is to aid with the erection, I guess, of the bivvy itself. Let's move them there. You get a lightweight ground sheet. Now I'm not going to put this in for the purpose of the video. Everyone knows what a ground sheet does, but just make this a bit quicker when it comes to the setup of not using the ground sheet. You've also got 4 storm poles. So again, when it comes to the setup, we'll come on to exactly how they go together or how the bivvy sets up. There is a bag of heavy duty pegs. There's a couple of escapes, so let's get them back in there. And then you've got the bivvy itself. So just to cover the block, there's a little bit of protection. It's almost like a little elasticated bag. So that's not needed for the actual setup, just mainly for transportation. So that's it. You've got the bivvy, you've got your storm poles, you've got a ground sheet, you've got pegs, and then you've got these 2 metal rods which aid with the setup. So let's have a little tidy up, get all this stuff out of the way, and go from the start and actually set this up and show you how quick and easy it is to set up as well. It's a tried and tested block, so let's see just how simple it is. Right, so the setup. If I'm being completely honest, I have not put one of these together, but the concept of it seems really, really simple. Now, I know bivvies don't always go up as simple as they seem, but the idea of this is that there's no poles to put together. So that on the floor now is exactly how I've taken it out of the bag. And it should be a case of simply fanning out the front and the back, using the 2 poles provided to then pull it together, and then putting a little clip just to hold everything in place. Now, like I say, that sounds really simple. Let's see if it is actually as easy as that. So, like I say, you've got a fan out the top, so you've got 5 poles, and then I believe you've got 4 underneath, yeah, 5 and 4, fanned out like that. And then one of these goes in here, one of these goes underneath, and then I believe, okay, so you just pull it together like that, and then you've got a little S-clip which you can then let the poles go. So take them out, and that is the base shape. All you've then got to do is add the storm poles to the front. So I'll quickly do that now. I'll get it set up and pegged in, and then we'll have a look at some of the specs about it, because yeah, the setup definitely ticks all the boxes. It is as simple as the manufacturers say, which is quite a bonus. So let's get these storm poles on, and then, like I say, we'll have a look at some of the actual tech specs of the product. So there you go, that is everything set up, and I think you probably agree it is a very, very cool looking bit of kit. Now, in terms of dimensions, it is 125 centimeters high, 260 wide, and 220 from front to back, which is apparently the optimum size for a single bed chair and a single person's kit. So we'll find that out in a second when we jump inside. But all of this comes in at about 8.5 kilos. So it's pretty lightweight considering that's including the storm poles, the pegs, the ground sheet, yeah, basically everything that you saw me unpack earlier. So 8.5 kilos, which if you want to, probably can be stripped back a little bit if you're not taking the ground sheet, if you're only taking the amount of pegs that you need, and if you're not taking the infill panel. So if you want to strip it right back to being a shelter, it could weigh a lot less. But let's jump inside and see how much room is actually inside as well. Okay, so moment of truth, how much room is inside? So I have got my standard bed chair in here. It's not a wide boy, it's just a normal one. And it's not high, it's not low, it's a very mediocre sized bed chair. And there's still quite a bit of room. Now, at the front, either side, there's probably 1.5 feet from the bed to where the storm pole is touching the floor. From the actual head bit to the side, there's probably about 1 foot. So you've got quite a decent chunk of space there, and the same this side. Now, where the design of this bivvy is not a flat back design like a lot of them on the market these days, obviously the bed chair doesn't push right back. But I think in this situation, that's not a bad thing, because not only have you got quite a bit of space in front of you, there's also a good 1.5 feet behind you as well. So if you've got something more valuable that you want to keep out the way, in terms of what we do, my camera bag would be going right back there, out the way the other side of me. And then that still leaves all the room for fishing kit one side, so like my rucksack, and then brew kit and bits and pieces the other side. So there is plenty of room. So it has really been thought out in terms of the space that it offers you. Like I say, there is a 150 model available as well, which will give you more room. But I think if you're doing a couple of nights, then this is going to be ample. I mean, even in terms of headroom, obviously, yes, I'm not the tallest at CARPology, but there is headroom. My little bobble isn't touching the top at all. So like I say, even with this bed chair, which it's not a low one particularly, there is room, and there's quite a nice view out as well. So a lot of bivvies of this sort of size and shape are generally that little bit lower. And even for me, once the door's rolled up, it's in your eye line. But here, I can see out really, really well actually. So if we move on to some of the specs, the material is made from a 210D polyester. So it's actually a really lightweight material, but it still has a high enough hydrostatic head. So it's about a 5,000mm hydrostatic head, which, yeah, compared to some on the market, you get 10s, 15s, 20s, but it's very unnecessary a lot of the time. There are situations where you would want a 20,000mm hydrostatic head if you're fishing in the Amazon. I don't know, but to be honest, yeah, you don't need it. So like I've kind of said throughout this video, it very much is a stripped back bivvy. So it does what it needs to do and it does it well. Is it going to keep you dry? Yeah, it is. Simple as that. So you don't need more than that. You know, if by putting a thicker material, it's just going to make it heavier, and that's not the purpose of this bivvy. So it really much is a bivvy that's been designed to be light, affordable, and just practical, which it definitely ticks all them boxes. Like I say, you know, you can zip the front off if you want to. Yeah, it doesn't have the different panels on the front, it doesn't have mozzie mesh, it doesn't have plastic, but I think that's kind of irrelevant. It's missing the point of what this bivvy is meant to be. So yeah, no faults in terms of the spec whatsoever. The poles are all fiberglass, so they're made quite light, but they're still strong. The block itself is nice and strong, and that's not, you can feel when you're putting it together, that's not just going to give over time. So there's strength where there needs to be strength, and it's made with lighter materials where, you know, you can get away with it. All the seams are still taped. So yeah, I can't fault it. It does what it needs to do, and it does it pretty well. So it's definitely got the looks, we can see that. It's got the features and it's got the price point to back it up. So it really is a very competitive bivvy in a market that is saturated with bivvies of all different price points. Now, I wouldn't put it in the budget bivvy category, because it's more than that. Not in price, but in terms of what you actually get for it. It's definitely a step above a lot of the budget bivvies that are out there on the market. And I'd kind of say it's either for people that are wanting to start getting into nights that don't want to spend a fortune, but they want something that's going to be comfortable for them, or people that really do want to strip back. They want a slightly lighter bivvy, something that's quick to put up. They don't need all the features, because how many bivvies do you get these days that have got mozzie panels on it, that have got plastic front panels, heavy duty ground sheets? All of that adds to the weight when a lot of that isn't actually used. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of the time when I get a bivvy, I pretty much, the plastic door goes straight away, the ground sheet goes, the mozzie meshes, they're kind of part of it, you can't get rid of them, but I very rarely use it with a mozzie mesh. So it really does cater for a lot of different applications, and like I say, it's got that price point where it is very, very competitive. Yeah, I mean, I can't fault it when you're looking at 300 quid all in. It's hard to find fault with it. So let me know in the comments what you think of the Cygnet Cyclone. Does the 100 fit your needs? Would you prefer something slightly bigger like the 150, which we might have our hands on later down the line? Just, it'd be good to see the actual size difference in person as well, and kind of see what we can fit in one as opposed to the other. But like I said earlier, the actual space inside for a small footprint is pretty impressive. There's more than enough room for everything you'd need for a couple of nights, even for a slightly longer session if you do pack slightly lighter. So yeah, for more information, check out the Cygnet website for all the actual specifics. I might not have gone through during this video, but yeah, I really can't fault it, and it should definitely be on your radar if you're looking for a new bivvy at that sort of price point. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.